Hello and welcome. This is 5 Live. I'm Sonal Mehrotra Kapoor. On the program today, we've got everything that you need to know about what happened this Thursday, from the BMC elections, the richest body having the lowest and perhaps the poorest turnout over there. Then we've got news coming in on that big ED versus TMC hearing that's going on in the court. And then we've got some follow-ups on the NEET story. Remember, yesterday when we broke that story to you, there were so many reactions that came in, and so far we've heard from the doctors. So today we thought, let's go back to the students and ask them if they are in favor of actually the 0 percentile that they need to get into the PG courses. All that and more coming up on the program. All right, just a few minutes remain before voting in India's richest civic body comes to an end. We are talking about BMC. With elections being held after a gap of 8 long years, there was high anticipation that Mumbaikars would actually step out in large numbers and vote on the issue that directly impacts their lives. And the who's and who of India's financial capital did turn up to exercise their franchise. From the film industry, stars like Akshay Kumar, Amir Khan, John Ibrahim, Sunil Shetty, Shraddha Kapoor were seen standing in queues to make their vote count. The god of cricket, Sachin Tendulkar, made an appearance as well with his family to cast his vote. Top political leaders too led from the front, from Thackeray brothers to Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis, voting early in the day. But in the larger picture, Mumbai lived up to its unenviable reputation of being a poor voter. By 3:30, the voter turnout stood at just 41%. Despite a public holiday in the country's financial capital. Holiday been given only so you can go out and exercise your right to vote. A stark reminder that Mumbaikars are quick to voice their grievances but far less willing to participate when it comes to being counted and also held accountable.
बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है। मैं हमेशा कहते आ रहा हूँ कि ये मौका ऐसा है जहाँ पे आपको अपना ओपिनियन आप मतदान के ज़रिए आप एक्सप्रेस कर सकते हो, और जो आप चाहते हो उसमें एक एक बूंद, हम जैसे कहते हैं कि एक एक बूंद इम्पोर्टेंट होता है। तो ये अगर रिजल्ट जो आप चाहते हो वो अगर रियलाइज़ करना है तो हर एक इंसान को आके मतदान करना।
बहुत अच्छा अरेंजमेंट्स किया है यहाँ म्यूनिसिपैलिटी ने, और मैं सबसे कहूँगा कि आप आइए, अपना कीमती वोट ज़रूर डालिए। और बड़ी अच्छी अरेंजमेंट्स की बीएमसी ने, तो वाटर की अरेंजमेंट, सब चीज़ की अरेंजमेंट्स की, एंड प्लीज़ कम एंड वोट।
हमारी रोज़मर्रा ज़िंदगी के लिए आज का दिन है जब रिमोट कंट्रोल हमारे हाथ में आता है। सो मैं यही कहूँगा, सारे मुंबई वालों को कहूँगा, आके वोट जरूर करें। रादर कि हम कंप्लेन करते हैं कि पानी नहीं आ रहा, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी नहीं आ रहा, रोड ठीक नहीं है, कचरा है, ये है वो है। इट्स नाउ आवर टर्न, हम सबको आना चाहिए, और हो सके सारे के सारे आने चाहिए ताकि हम वोटिंग करके सही मतदान, सही बंदा चुन सकें। सो दैट इज़ इट। अगर और साथ में यही कहूँगा कि अगर मुंबईकर का असली हीरो बनना है तो डायलॉग बाजी नहीं, आके सीधे वोटिंग करें।
आई थिंक दिस इज बाय फार द मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट इलेक्शंस। हम सिर्फ रोते रहते हैं कि बीएमसी ये नहीं करती, बीएमसी वो नहीं करती। हम कुछ नहीं करते। बीएमसी वाले देखेंगे तो बीएमसी जितना काम करती है, आप रात को 2 बजे देखो तो क्लीनिंग चालू है, फेंकने वाले तो हम ही है ना। तो आई थिंक दिस इज अ वेरी वेरी इम्पॉर्टेंट वोट, और सभी को बाहर निकल के वोट करना जरूरी है, बहुत बहुत जरूरी है।
जो भी जीत के आएगा वो टाइम पे चुनाव रखे, ये भी बहुत जरूरी है इस देश के लिए, प्रजातंत्र के लिए। लेकिन जिस कदर हमारे शहर के हालात हुए पिछले कुछ दिनों में, तो अरमान ये है कि बेहतर हो। बिकॉज ये जो मुझे दिख रहा है, यहाँ पे पब्लिक का नामो निशान नहीं है। अंदर ऑफिशियल ज्यादा है, पब्लिक कम है। इतनी शर्मनाक बात है, इतनी ये हर इंडियन को दर्द होना चाहिए ये देख के, क्योंकि अगर हम अपना देश नहीं संभालेंगे, उसकी जिम्मेदारी नहीं उठाएंगे, तो जो हो रहा है वो होता रहेगा।
Fair point there by Vishal Dadlani, but let's see how much of that voter turnout actually improves by 5:30. That's when voting ends. But let's tell you about another controversy that's brewing in the BMC election. The opposition has alleged that marker pens are being used instead of the permanent inked ones to manipulate the polls. A charge strongly denied by the election officials and the ruling government as well. Now, a video went viral where a man is showing how easily he could just use acetone to remove his marker and said this is how the fraud is actually taking place. Take a look at this report to understand this in greater detail.
The first election in 8 years for Mumbai's civic body has been clouded by controversy. After a high-voltage campaign, polling day turned equally charged, with the opposition alleging electoral manipulation. The Thakre brothers, reunited after 2 decades, accused authorities of using marker pens instead of indelible ink, claiming that it was done to benefit the ruling Mahayuti alliance. They allege the ink applied on voters' fingers can be easily wiped off, holding the State Election Commission and the BMC accountable.
बाईचं नाव रवींद्र असेल का पुरुष मतदाराच्या नावाच्या पुढे बाईचा फोटो याच गोष्टी आम्ही मोर्चा काढून सांगितल्या होत्या निवडणूक आयुक्तांच्या समोर ठेवल्या होत्या त्याच्यानंतर शाई पुसल्या जाण्याच्या तक्रारी येत आहेत तर हे सगळे निवडणूक जिंकण्यासाठी यांचा आटापिटा चाललेला आहे बोटावरची शाई तर पुसली जातेच आहे अशा प्रकारे यापूर्वी कधी झाले नव्हते
ये न केने प्रकारे निवडणुका जिंकायच्या आणि त्याच्यासाठी जे काही वाटेल ते करता येईल त्याच्या सगळ्या गोष्टी सरकार आणि प्रशासन बरं का आता काहीतरी नवीन पेन आणलंय आणि ते पेन मध्ये इतक्या तक्रारी सगळ्या बाजूनी येत आहेत की तुम्ही बाहेर पडल्यावरती त्याला जर सॅनिटायझर लावलं तर ती शाई जाते.
The Congress echoed these charges, releasing videos purportedly showing ink being erased from fingers with ease. The Mahayuti, however, has outright rejected these allegations. Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis even staged a live demonstration, asserting that the ink used is indelible and cannot be removed.
ये अभी मैंने ये मार्कर मेरे को लगाया हुआ है अब इसको मिटा के दिखाइए देखिए कहीं मिट रहा है देखिए आपके सामने कर रहा हूँ कहीं मिट रहा है ऐसा है कि हो सकता है कि किसी का इसके ऊपर ऑब्जेक्शन हो इलेक्शन कमीशन ने देखना चाहिए और कुछ इस्तेमाल करना है तो करना चाहिए मैं तो बोलता ऑयल पेंट करना तो ऑयल पेंट करिए चुनाव निष्पक्ष होने चाहिए.
Deputy Chief Minister Eknath Shinde slammed the opposition, saying that the allegations are nothing but excuses from parties staring at defeat.
तो पोलिंग एजेंट तो उनके भी है ना सभी पार्टी के पोलिंग एजेंट है डबल वोटिंग करना तो उसको ऑब्जेक्शन देना चाहिए.
While the BMC has dismissed the claims, the State Election Commission too has clarified that anyone who tries to erase the ink from the finger can still not vote again. But whether that is enough to placate the opposition remains to be seen. Bureau Report, India Today.
All right, so that controversy really erupting on how easily people have been able to erase that ink out of their hands, something clearly one that has to be looked into by the Election Commission. But let's understand this in more detail. Let's get also an understanding of where the voter turnout is. It's come down to some 57%. I'm told at the moment with just minutes to go, with just about last 20 minutes to go before voting actually ends today. But let's bring on a Mumbaikar to understand what's been happening. Meghna Pant is back with us on the program. Meghna is a Mumbaikar and author as well. Meghna, we spoke a couple of days ago and we said, oh, Mumbai should come out. 56%, 57%. Like, how are you expecting change with that?
It's beyond ridiculous, Sonal. But first, let's put an end to this controversy of the vote. I went to vote, in fact, twice today because in the morning it was so crowded. So I've got an acetone bottle here. Sorry, an old bottle, but it's an acetone bottle. And I've dabbed it here and this is my inked finger. Now let's see if it's coming off. It is not. So I think it's just an unnecessary controversy. I think we don't have to take it very seriously. But I think, Sonal, one thing I'll point out is
Meghna Pant has given us a quick reality check over there. Maybe it happened in certain booths and not in the others, because the video that you saw there was actually of a reporter doing it. So he managed to do it. So clearly there's some discrepancy there. But good to know it's not been there all over. Yeah, go ahead.
Absolutely. So, Sonal, I went to vote in the morning today, and I just want to point out one thing. We're blaming Mumbaikars for voter apathy, but I think this may be a myth because I think one thing I saw when I went to vote, I took my two small children with me, and there were such long queues, and a process that should take 10 minutes was going to take 1 to 2 very exhausting hours. And this is not because of the people, because the system is broken. Now, what I saw was these blurry printed voter rolls and this manual searching. This is very inefficient, the system. You've got these paper-based lists and there's poor quality photos of people everywhere. And each voter lookup is taking at least 15 to 30 minutes. And then you're assigned a booth number. There you also get standing in long lines. And the poor polling staff are overworked, they're stressed out. This is a system they did not design. So all the working professionals, all the elderly, all the parents with children like mine or caregivers, you will simply give up and leave. So low voter turnout in Mumbai is not apathy. It's administrative friction and it needs to be looked at, especially Sonal in today's world because everything is mechanized. Our groceries are on our phones, on apps, our railway. I just took the Vande Bharat this weekend to Surat. Everything is mechanized. Airports and banks are mechanized and digitized. Why is voting still stuck in 1995? There's a simple digital lineup that we need. You enter your voter ID, you scan a QR code, your photo and your booth number appear instantly. Even offline, and then you get your queue tokenization. This would end.
But Meghna, can I bring you the other side of the story? I don't know if you could hear what the soundbite we played of Vishal Dadlani some time ago. He said the opposite of what you're saying. He said he went inside and there were nobody. Of course, your booths are different, I'm assuming. And the area where he went to cast his vote, I'm assuming it's going to be sober. But that's just me. I don't know his address at all. But, I'm assuming that that's where, the elite don't come out and vote. I'm again underlining, I don't know this. I'm just assuming that that's the apathy where and the place where we are seeing lower turnout. He said there are more officials than voters. So there seems to be different areas throwing different trends in this very hyper local election, which I'm actually glad about. That should be the case.
But I also voted in South Bombay, so I had to go back twice. So in the morning, the crowds were thronging. So maybe it's an issue of timing. And then I went after lunch around 2 o'clock. Then I went back. And that time it was completely empty. I was in and out in 10 minutes. So I think it really depends on your timing also. And this is again something that we should learn from, that go in the afternoon time, around lunch or post-lunch. But more than anything else, Sonal, I think we really need to respect voters' time because Mumbai is a city that runs on minutes. You have to digitize the entire voting process. Otherwise, people will not show up. This is not a city that has a lot of idle time. People are literally running second to second everywhere. So even though it's a public holiday, please respect the voters' time. And we need to, in the next elections, learn from this. Please mechanize the entire process and have mobile pre-verification so that when I enter a polling booth, I'm in and out in 5 minutes. I think that would really...
Rahul Gandhi might not be very happy with the suggestion you're making. He's had his own issues with EVM. Even Arvind Kejriwal has had his own issues with EVM. So I'm not sure how they're going to respond. But actually, I feel digitization should happen on the other end. There should be like an app or some place where we can go and find out about the history of all the candidates. I think that's more critical for me as a voter. An app or a website where I could go and I could see, okay, this is the area I vote in. These are all the candidates who are in the fray. And someone who can give me a full background upon the candidates, the work they did, have a rating system of sorts. I think that's the kind of digitization we need more, don't you think?
Oh my God, Sona, you've hit upon such a brilliant idea. If they want to reach the youth, if they want to reach Gen Z, if they want to get young people to come out and vote, you have got to educate them. There is no education on how. I didn't know anything about the BMC elections either. I had to educate myself because people around me, again, mostly South Bombayites, who seem to also live in a vacuum and very vacuous sometimes. In that terms, I think there's a lot of political apathy because there's no knowledge of politics. So people were saying things like the BMC elections about voting for the Prime Minister. So I actually made a reel about it because I couldn't see the level of the lack of knowledge that people have in Mumbai about politics. They only know about Bollywood and BSc, but nothing about the BMC. And I think this is something really, little bit of education would really have a young person who speaks in, a relatable way to reach out to people of this category. You'll get more of a voter turnout. It should not be an othering which is taking place, where politics is seen as something that's, belongs to people who will be given electricity, subsidies or railway subsidies. It should reach out to everybody because Mumbai is the place with the highest number of millionaires. So let's keep that in mind also. So
Yeah.
it should be all encompassing. It
I
should not
actually have another suggestion. I think people who don't vote, there should be some kind of penalty there as well. People who take holidays around that time, there should be some penalties there as well. But like I said, I have lots of these ideas. I don't know who's listening, but if anybody is, please take them into account. I would love it to have a more accountable voter base, more than just, just government and officials over there. But we leave it there for the moment. And let's see what comes out of these results, Meghna Pant. Good that you went and casted your vote. Good that your ink was at least permanent. We'll see how that went for other Mumbaikars in a moment from now.
Thank you, Sonal.
All right, switching tracks from Mumbai all the way to the Kolkata case. Well, the face-off between the ED and Mamata government escalated sharply in Supreme Court today, with the latest episode playing out before the top court as both sides sort of locked horns. And now Supreme Court has come out with its order, issuing a notice to the TMC government asking them to respond within 2 weeks on the ED's plea to hand over probe to the CBI. Now, what does this basically mean? All the 3 FIRs of the West Bengal cops shall be stayed till the 3rd of February. That's when the Supreme Court will pick up the matter next. But it was a heated exchange between the two sides. ED accused Mamata of committing an offence amounting to theft, questioning what she was hiding, that she had to barge into the ongoing raid that happened at the IPAC office, and the ruckus at the High Court as well. Hearing of the case was planned by TMC's legal cell, they said. Didi's lawyers, on the other hand, hit back, saying that she was at the High Court for only 15 minutes and rejected claims of any ruckus. They also accused the ED, in fact, in return, of acting with malified intent, and said that the agency knew that IPAC housed all the election data, all the election material and all the blueprint of how TMC was going to fight this election, which was the real target of the ED. Now, India Today, meanwhile, accessed the chat cited by EC, where TMC's legal team circulated a message for assembling at the Calcutta High Court. And remember, on 9th of Jan is when the matter will be heard next.
Whenever in a non-BJP state, central agency will interfere with the political party just before election, that is also not good. Correct? Similarly, if the central agency works and the state agency interferes, that is also not good. To maintaining this cooperative federalism is not the duty only of the state, it is also duty of the central government. Right? There were 2 parties there. You have to accept the 2 parts. They have said court scam case, correct. We don't have anything to say. 2,700, we have nothing to. They have given the list of dates. Last evidence which has been taken by them in this statement is 21st February 2024. Thereafter, he was sleeping altogether. Now, when the election is forthcoming, then he was jumping upon. ED is jumping upon. That is also the question, ना?
जो ईडी अफसर हैं, जो कानून के हिसाब से अपना कार्य कर रहे हैं, उनके खिलाफ एफआईआर दर्ज कर दी थी ममता बनर्जी की सरकार ने। सो पहला बिंदु, ये कानूनी जोर का तमाचा है उस मुख्यमंत्री को जो समझती है वो संविधान से ऊपर है। सर्वोच्च न्यायालय ने, किसी और ने नहीं, सर्वोच्च न्यायालय ने उन सभी एफआईआर पे रोक लगा दी है।
All right, joining me next is Shrishti Ojha, my colleague who was inside the court when that entire proceeding took place. Shrishti, we've got those graphics running on the screen for our viewers on what court said to both the sides. But the funny part about this proceeding, at least today's, has been that both parties have come out to say that, see, the Supreme Court sided with us. You know, TMC is saying, see, they've said this. BJP is saying, see, they spoke in our favor. You were inside the court. What exactly was the sentiment?
Well, Sonal, I don't think any part of today's hearing went in favor of the TMC. Yes, it's true that the Supreme Court, in its order, did acknowledge the fact that no central agency has the right to interfere in anyone's election-related duties. But what followed that statement becomes very crucial, because the court says one very serious question that comes up in this particular case, in a situation like this, is if a central agency wants to investigate a serious offence in any state in a bona fide manner, can you take the shield of political party or political party activities, or even the shield of state enforcement agencies like the state police, to obstruct them from doing so? If we see the entire order, the main operative portion of the order, it is in line with most of the arguments which were made by the Enforcement Directorate before the court today. They defended their decision to come to Supreme Court even though their case is already pending before the Calcutta High Court, and for that they referred to this particular WhatsApp chat that we had run for our viewers on our screen earlier today, that we had accessed, to make a point that it was the TMC supporters, in fact the TMC legal cell, which had tried to hijack the Calcutta High Court proceedings by sending across messages on WhatsApp and asking people to gather, which resulted in overcrowding in the High Court courtroom, and therefore the proceedings were adjourned. So the Supreme Court today even agreed with the ED on that aspect and said that if this is what happens in one High Court, today it's happening before Calcutta High Court, tomorrow if nothing's done, it can happen in any other High Court as well. As far as ED's allegations about a pattern in West Bengal, ED said that there's been a pattern in cases like this, especially in state of West Bengal, where any time the central agency wants to investigate a case, be it ED or CBI, they want to investigate a serious offence, any scam, there's a certain resistance that comes from the side of the state authorities, the West Bengal CM, the West Bengal police, every time where dharnas are held, and basically an attempt is made to obstruct the investigation process. The top court today has in a way also agreed with that, because they have very clearly said that the issue that they want to now examine further in this case is very serious. The issue, according to them, which is serious, is investigation by central agencies and interference by state agencies. So basically, if we try to sum the hearing up, the effect of the final order in this case in the hearing won't just have an effect on the political face-off in West Bengal, but also in other states, especially where the ruling party in the state is not the same as that in the centre.
Got it, Shrishti. Thanks so much for bringing us up to speed with that. It was a fiery day in court, we see, but one that is not getting over. We'll keep a track on that story and that case as it develops. All right, moving on to yet another India Today impact. Days after we exposed, in fact, about how Ayushman Bharat Yojana had impaneled hospitals where either treatment was being denied or illegally charging of beneficiaries was taking place. The Punjab government has now issued a show cause notice to 2 hospitals that were shown in that investigation: JP Diagnostics in Zirakpur and Indus International Hospital in Dera Bassi. The Aam Aadmi Party government has directed both hospitals to explain why Ayushman Bharat beneficiaries were refused treatment, also warning that strict action will follow if their responses are found to be unsatisfactory. Remember, on this program just last week when we brought this news, the Punjab Health Minister had said that he will take action. This is what he had said. So the last report that you saw there, a doctor who owns one of those hospitals says very clearly that they already have a lot of pending payment coming in from the government, and which is why he simply cannot afford to run the hospital this way. If you look at the numbers as well, a total allocation of 9,406 crore was made in the union budget last year. It has already been increased by 29%. Budget is around the corner. We are expecting another increase to happen over there. A lot of this allocation goes directly to the states. I'm trying to understand, where is this money going?
I will tell you, the very scheme of the central government is faulty. You see, central government owes Punjab 300 crore rupees. When we raise the bill, they are supposed to give, it's a 60-40 scheme. Central government 60%, state government 40%. But they give us only, they say that we have a budget of 105 crores for Punjab. They have a limit. So they say it's a central government scheme. So they limit the budget, but they only actually pay us 20%. So all the states are suffering because of that. This scheme is like any other scheme. You see, smart city, you see the condition of smart city, Gurugram, Delhi, or any other smart city. So they announce the schemes with big fanfare, but they don't give the matching grant which should be there. How can they fix the budget? It has to be 60%, because so many people are covered with that. 16 lakh families in Punjab. Now we are going to give it to the entire population of Punjab, and we have already kept 1200 crores for that. So the money does not come. Their portal was not working. So most of the problems are with the center, NHA. So states suffer because state has to face, we have to face the people when they come for treatment. But the money does not come from the center. So the problem
Have you
is
raised this issue with the centre, sir? We're again going into Aam Aadmi Party versus BJP over here. Would you say this is the issue only with Punjab, or would you say this exists across states as well?
I am not saying that. I am saying that there are often delays. There are often delays, and the money allocated is much less than what is the share of the center. These are facts. I can give you the facts. I have met the Honorable Union Health Minister twice for this. I've written DO letters for this. I can share with you. You see, they told us to get the audit done for the previous year for the Congress's name.
All right, so that was the health minister over there. In fact, in the process of that interview, we did, highlight the names of the hospitals, and he said that he will take action. Very happy to see that that action has been taken. But remember, Ayushman scheme is much more complicated than that. The hospitals often complain that there is no reimbursement happening from the government, which is why they can't offer these services. But that's a story we'll take on another day.
Outrage over a not-so-neat fix. Medical seat versus merit. Talks divided. Lower NEET UG cutoffs a blunder. Can a zero score save lives? Do we want doctors at any cost?
On this very program yesterday, we highlighted how the Health Ministry has relaxed qualifying cutoffs for NEET PG in an attempt to fill thousands of postgraduate medical seats lying vacant across the country. That decision has sharply sort of divided opinions. While some argue that capable doctors should not be shut out from missing a high percentile, others believe that the move actually strikes at the very core of merit in the medical education system. India's premier medical body, the Indian Medical Association, has welcomed the Health Ministry's order. In fact, they had written to the Health Ministry saying that they want it to be done because the country lacks doctors. We need more. The IMA says lowering the cutoffs will strengthen healthcare delivery by preventing large-scale vacancies in PG medical seats and ensuring more specialists enter the system. But today, we focus on the other side of the debate as well. The voices that are angry, they are alarmed, and they are openly opposing the move. Two of the most influential resident doctor bodies in the country, FODA and FIMA, have written now to the Health Ministry expressing strong disapproval. One of them says that the decision compromises merit and raises serious questions about the credibility of the medical profession itself. The body warns that such dilution will erode public trust in doctors, a profession where competence can be a matter of life and death. The other body has gone a step further. It has demanded an immediate rollback of the order and has threatened a nationwide protest if the government does not reconsider. For those who may have missed the discussion yesterday, here's the key fact. For NEET PG 2025 or 26 now, the Health Ministry has slashed qualifying percentiles to unprecedented lows. The general category candidates who earlier needed about 50th percentile, that's about some 173 to 200 marks out of 800, can now qualify at just 7th percentile. SC, ST, OBC, the PWBD candidates can enter as low as 0 percentile, where the marks go minus 40. That's effectively no cutoff at all. You just give the examination and you're in. In practical terms, a candidate has a reserved category scoring as low as -40 is still eligible for round 3 of counselling of PG medical seats. The question, however, still remains, is this the only way to fill up those vacant 18,000 seats? Yes, India needs more doctors, but do we need any kind of doctor? Do we need more specialized, dedicated doctors? Where exactly is this going and what should be done? Joining us next, we got you doctors yesterday and we've got more of them joining the program today as well. But let me give the first sort of argument there, the first comment to a student of NEET. Ravi Shankar Gupta is a NEET aspirant. He joins us from Kota, which is famous for producing so many doctors and especially for their NEET coachings as well. Ravi Shankar Gupta, hello and welcome. फर्स्ट मुझे बताइए कि अभी आप कौन से ईयर की तैयारी कर रहे हैं और फिर हमें बताइए ये जो परसेंटाइल कम हो गए हैं उससे आपका क्या कहना है और कोटा में कैसा माहौल है अभी?
मैं अभी नीट 2026 के लिए प्रिपरेशन कर रहा हूँ कोटा से, मोशन इंस्टीट्यूट से, और मेरा बस यही कहना है कि जो परसेंटाइल है इतना लो नहीं होना चाहिए ताकि मतलब अपने जो मतलब पब्लिक हेल्थ केयर है, सेफ्टी है, इसके बारे में मतलब बहुत कम परसेंटाइल पे क्या बोलते हैं, कम परसेंटाइल पे सिलेक्शन नहीं होना चाहिए, क्योंकि ये हेल्थ केयर का बात है, मतलब एक मामूली कोई छोटी चीज नहीं है, मतलब पब्लिक सेफ्टी, पब्लिक हेल्थ केयर के बारे में अपन जो है सोचना चाहिए कि निगेटिव परसेंटाइल पे इतना एडमिशन लेना है गवर्नमेंट को, और मतलब जो मेडिकल अपना फील्ड है उसके बारे में।
रवि जी, मुझे तो लग रहा था स्टूडेंट्स बड़े खुश होंगे कि मार्क्स अब जल्दी आसानी से एंट्री हो जाएगी। आप कह रहे हैं स्टूडेंट्स जो ट्रू डॉक्टर बनना चाहते हैं, जो देश को सर्व करना चाहते हैं, वो कह रहे हैं ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए।
ऐसा नहीं, स्टूडेंट के खुश होने पे कोई बड़ी बात नहीं है, बात है कि पब्लिक का हेल्थ इशू है, पब्लिक सेफ है या नहीं, ये अभी के लिए मतलब खुश होने की बात है, लेकिन आज से 5 साल बाद वही बड़े आगे जाके बड़े डॉक्टर बनेंगे तो ये सोचने वाली बात है। पहले भी कोरोना हो गया था, पेपर लीक, तो उसमें भी मतलब चोरी या ऐसे वैसे करके बहुत लोग पहुंच गए थे मेडिकल कॉलेज, लेकिन अब सोचने वाली बात है कि इतने कम मार्क्स पे कोई कॉलेज में जाएगा तो ये इतना अच्छी बात नहीं है। मतलब वैसे भी इंडिया का जो रैंकिंग है वर्ल्ड हेल्थ ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के अकॉर्डिंग 197 कंट्रीज में से अपना 66 रैंक है, तो ये उतना अच्छा संकेत नहीं है अपने देश के लिए।
रवि जी, बहुत ही उम्दा आपने बात करी, पर क्या मैं जान सकती हूँ कि कोटा में जो प्रो रिजर्वेशन और एंटी रिजर्वेशन बहुत डिबेट होती है, इस मूव के बाद क्या माहौल है? अभी तो जितने एंटी रिजर्वेशन है वो बहुत खुश हो गए होंगे कि चलो एक मुद्दा मिला बात करने के लिए, तो क्या ये डिबेट इग्नाइट हो गई है फिर से?
यस मैम, ये डिबेट जो है बहुत एक्सप्लोसिव हो गई है, क्योंकि ये पहले तो रिजर्वेशन जो है मतलब एक मामले पे एक लिमिट तक सही है, लेकिन उसके आगे ये रिजर्वेशन सही नहीं है। और दूसरी बात ये भी है कि ऊपर से ये जो भी प्राइवेट मेडिकल कॉलेज, इनको ये इससे फायदा होने वाला है, क्योंकि कम कट ऑफ पे वो तो एडमिशन ले लेंगे, लेकिन जो मतलब जो अपने देश का हेल्थ केयर है वो सुधर नहीं पाएगा, तो ऑलरेडी पहले से डैमेज है, ऊपर से ऐसे सिस्टम लाकर ऐसे कम मार्क्स पे एडमिशन लेके अपन जो है अपने हेल्थ केयर के साथ बहुत खिलवाड़ कर रहे हैं।
ये आपने बहुत ही समझदार बात करी है। पर मुझे रवि एक और बात बताइए, आपके हिसाब से ये सीट्स वेकेंट जाती क्यों हैं? क्यों लोग पीजी में अप्लाई नहीं कर रहे हैं?
क्योंकि मतलब लोग जो अपना ऑफिस खोल दे रहे हैं, या फिर कोई मतलब क्या बोलते हैं किसी अदर हॉस्पिटल में काम करने लग रहे हैं एमबीबीएस करने के बाद में, या फिर कोई जो अदर जॉब्स करने लग रहे हैं। लोग जो है मतलब उतना लंबा जर्नी तय नहीं करना चाहते हैं नीट पीजी के बाद, और ऊपर से लोग मतलब नीट पीजी में उतने सीरियस नहीं लेते हैं इस मतलब प्रोफेशन को आगे जाके। अब और दूसरी बात ये है कि अपन जो है एमबीबीएस के बाद में लोग जो है बहुत सारी फील्ड हैं, लेकिन लोग एक ही पर्टिकुलर फील्ड में जाना चाहते हैं, जैसे न्यूरो सर्जरी हो गया, कार्डियो हो गया, यही सब में जाना है, बाकी और सब फील्ड में नहीं जाना चाहते हैं।
जी, रवि शंकर गुप्ता, हमसे अपनी बात इतनी अच्छे से बताने के लिए बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया, और आपको गुड लक। आप पढ़ाई करें, देश को आपके ऐसे डॉक्टर्स की बहुत ज़रूरत है जो कह रहे हैं एग्ज़ाम को टफ बनाइए लेकिन अच्छे डॉक्टर निकालिए। आई थिंक ये देश को ऐसे डॉक्टर्स की बहुत ज़रूरत है। सो गुड लक टू यू and when you sit in for your examination. All right, so you heard from the NEET students there. I wasn't expecting that response. It's good to hear that students like that still exist. But let me bring that open to our panelists now, our doctors who are joining us. Dr. Ivanshi Kaul is from Safdarjung Hospital, Senior Resident, Department of Anesthesia, is joining us. Also with us is Dr. Rajiv Jayadevan. Dr. Rajiv, to you first. You just heard that young guy over there. So happy to hear students like that. But, you know, saying that make it tougher, but get the right kind of doctors into the system. What are your thoughts about the lowering of the percentile?
First step for our viewers, I'll say that is zero does not mean 0 marks. All right, I'll just explain how the marks are handled first in about 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Let's say you're selecting for a sports team and you're selecting based on height. You've got people from height of 5 foot to 6'3". So these are the candidates lined up, and the average height is 5'6". So as of now, people 5'6" and higher are hired. But when the seats are vacant, they are saying that one way to do it is to bring it down a little bit. So 5'4" also gets in, but they go through the same training. So that does not mean that people who at the lowest level or let's say somebody who scores what's called 0 marks are getting in. I know there are some nuanced exceptions here, but I'm talking about a general category here. So people should not be under the impression that doctors with 0 scores are getting in. It is just that instead of
but
those
the SC, ST, OBC reserved category, their minus 40 is a qualifier, right?
I know, I'm aware of that. That's a different category. That topic is social justice, and we are not going to get into that right now. Let's just stick with the standard NEET guidelines now. So we can always argue 2 ways. One is, should we allow all these positions, seats to remain vacant in all these postgraduate training centers, or should we have people sit on the seats and complete the education? We can have arguments back and forth for both sides. But I will tell you my view. I'll take you to my MBBS class. So in my MBBS class, if you look at all the marks that were given out, there were people who at all ranges of marks. But when I look at our class 35 years since our graduation, or 40 years since our graduation, I don't see a difference in the quality of doctors at all. They've all gone on to become excellent doctors in various forms. Some are doing medicine, I'm doing medicine, others are surgeons, others are teaching, some are in general practice, some are in pharmacology, others are in community health, and so on. So when I look back, in fact, we joke about this, saying that marks really didn't matter. So I'm not saying marks don't matter, but here's an important distinction. Remember, MBBS requires passing 19 subjects. Thorough knowledge of 19 subjects are tested, and then only you get the MBBS degree. And then you go through another exam, which is NEET, the postgraduate entrance, and that is the person who walks into the postgraduate seat. Now, with the postgraduate seat, for our viewers, I'll say, is there are some postgraduate seats that are very focused. Say, for example, if I want to teach anatomy, I would only look at anatomy, and it's very easy for me to focus on just one topic. Or if I wish to study ophthalmology, I can only look at ophthalmology. With
I get your point, Dr. Rajiv.
Yeah,
I get where you're going with this, but the larger question is still, and we'll perhaps have the answer very soon, right? Today is when the phase 3 of counselling actually opens. That means by 26, 27 Jan, we should know how it's actually turned out. But Dr. Kaul is also with us. She doesn't exactly agree with you. Dr. Kaul, is this the right way to fill up those 18,000 vacancies, according to you?
So I'll counter sir on this fact that, as he said, that we study 19 subjects to pass MBBS. And if any person, any student, be it a general category or any reserved category, if he's studying 19 subjects and after 5.5 years of rigorous training, he's not managing to score even the basic cutoff marks in a NEET PG exam. It's not a basic entrance level exam. You're training to become a specialist in a country, in a medical healthcare system. If after so much years of so many studying so many subjects, if you cannot even manage to get that cutoff, and the cutoff has to be reduced to a mere minus 40 marks, then the whole point of reservation or even the whole education of MBBS, it's all failed.
It's killed. You want to respond to that, Dr. Rajiv?
I know, I get what the doctor is saying, but the point here is when you are doing a postgraduate, you become very good at the subject you're focusing on. So that does not necessarily require a
but
very
it's not
thorough
just about
knowledge.
becoming good at the subject, no, Dr. Rajiv. It's about
Yes.
sincerity as a student that you have. If you've not been sincere for your 5 years of MBBS, not to score a basic mark and a cutoff in your PG NEET, then what is the guarantee that the next 2 years that you're going to be sincere? I mean, that's the question that that's before us.
Yeah, I need to correct you there. This is not about sincerity. We are looking at people who have honorably passed the MBBS course through the rigorous curriculum and have gone through an exam, and we are debating the exact marks that should be the cutoff here. These are not failures. These are not.
Then what is the point of the NEET exam then?
Yeah, the NEET exam.
Then tell me the point of the NEET PG exam.
NEET PG exam is a gateway of entry into the postgraduate seat. See, if the candidate is not good, the candidate will not pass. All right. So there is.
But the gate is always open. If you're for a
So
particular
scoring a
category and you
-40
are
is failing.
scoring even 0, the gate is constantly open. It's hardly a gateway anymore.
That is not true. The
As good as not
score is
sitting in
not
the
zero
exam.
there. No, the score is not zero. There is a screening tool, and if your score is 0, you will not walk into that gate. You will not.
What does that mean? Just explain that to me. And I know
Yeah.
Dr. Kaul wants to come in. I'll let her explain that. Yeah.
No, I mean, I
Yeah.
agree with you, Sonal, because it's as good as not sitting in the exam.
Okay, but Dr. Rajiv, very quickly, I have last 30 seconds. What do you mean
Yeah.
that 0 is not enough?
Yeah, 0, as I mentioned at the beginning, if you arrange people according to their marks, 0 means average mark, all right? So we are saying, the new guidelines are saying you could score below average mark. It doesn't say 0 mark there. And for the general category...
0
you just-
percentile minus 40 from
Yeah.
what I know.
Yeah, percentile
Out of
does not
800,
mean...
correct?
Yeah, percentile does not mean
So
0.
can you tell me SC, ST or any reserve category over there, and this is not against reservation at all, should not be perceived as that. I'm just saying for a reservation student, what is the lowest benchmark required for PG according to you?
I am not aware of I'm not updated with the SC, ST category. As I said, it is social justice, and I'm not going to comment on that. It requires a long discussion on SC, ST alone and not in 10 seconds.
All right. Dr. Kaul, I'll give you the last word over there. I want to understand from you, since you are the younger of the lot, please, apologies for sort of mentioning that, but just because you're the younger of the lot and we've seen consistent dropouts in the NEET PG examination, I'm constantly going back to the same question, why are there vacancies? A lot of people are saying that let's fill it through lower percentile, etc. I'm just asking, why are there no takers for NEET PG?
See, the kind of seats that are going vacant are mainly of the non-clinical branches and mainly of private colleges. Why this is happening? Because just increasing the number of seats is not enough. Most of the places there is lack of infrastructure, lack of faculty, maybe there is a bond, maybe there is less stipend. So people, they are not keen to join on those places. Maybe they're located in peripheries, so students don't pick up those seats. And as the kid from the quota said, that people want to go in for more clinical branches.
Yeah.
So non-clinical branches.
So perhaps some redundant branches that people don't want, and that's where all the vacancy is coming from. I have very little time, so I have to leave it there for the moment. Thank you both for joining us. And for the moment, good luck to all the kids who are appearing for the PG NEET as well. We'll say a wrap on this bulletin today. See you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.